Have you ever felt that something bad started happening in your life without explanation? As if someone cast an envious look or even a harsh word against you. Suddenly your plans get stuck, money disappears, health weakens, and a feeling of heaviness begins to take over the house. In ancient Jewish wisdom, this is not just a coincidence. The sages of the Talmud teach that all energy sent out returns to the one who sent it. But there is an even deeper secret that few know. They said that the force trying to harm you only finds space if there is a void inside you. And that is exactly what we will talk about today. You will discover how to return all evil and witchcraft, but in a way that evil no longer touches your life, nor needs to be fought with more darkness. Because when you learn the true path, the light itself takes care of returning everything at the right time. Before we begin, write in the comments your name and where you are watching me from. I want to feel your energy. I want to know which part of the world you are listening to me from right now. In the next few minutes, you will understand why the most powerful way to protect yourself is not by retaliating, but by becoming untouchable. But first, we need to understand how evil finds loopholes to act. In Kabbalah, it is taught that evil has no inherent strength. It needs to feed on something, and that something is often our own anger, our hurt, our impulsive responses to injustices. When someone harms us and we wish the same upon them, what happens spiritually is profound. We create a channel of connection with that energy. The evil we wish upon others becomes a mirror and begins to reflect back on us as well. But the opposite is also true. When a person is offended, betrayed, wronged, and still remains at peace, seeking divine wisdom, this energy finds no dwelling. It gets lost in the air, returns to its origin, and evil simply dissolves. And this is where the Jewish secret of returning all evil and witchcraft begins. Because true return does not happen with screams, revenge, or rituals. It happens when you elevate yourself so spiritually that evil cannot bear your presence. But before revealing how to activate this divine protection, I need to tell you something. There is an ancient teaching that the old Jewish masters kept for centuries, a secret that explains why some people seem to be untouchable by evil, and why everything they touch prospers even amidst life's storms. This knowledge has been passed down from generation to generation, from wise men to disciples, and has remained hidden for millennia. But now it has been revealed. I left a pinned video in the comment that explains how anyone, even if not Jewish, can apply this ancestral wisdom and completely transform their life. There you will understand the true secret of prosperity, protection, and spiritual strength that neutralizes any negative energy. But attention, watch this video only after finishing what you are watching now. What comes next will prepare your heart and mind to understand the power contained in that teaching. Now, continue with me, because you will discover the exact way that the Talmud teaches to return evil without touching it, without confronting it, simply letting the light itself do justice. The masters said that before fighting any negative energy, it is necessary to prevent it from reaching you. This is not weakness, it is spiritual intelligence. It is like building a wall of light that makes any attack launched against your life useless. In Kabbalah, this wall is built from the inside out, not with weapons, but with inner posture, chosen words, and acts that elevate your frequency. When your vibration changes, evil simply cannot find a place to anchor. It passes through you like wind over stone, leaving no mark. I will tell a story for you to feel it firsthand. There was a woman named Esther, who worked day and night caring for her family. A malicious neighbor began to slander her with rumors. Small doors started closing for her, and the feeling of loss grew. Esther could have reacted with anger, with accusations, as many would do, but she chose a different path. Every day before dawn, Esther reserved 5 minutes for silence and gratitude. She repeated internally a simple blessing: "May I be protected in the light." Additionally, every Friday she gave a small amount in charity, with a clear intention that this donation be in the name of peace. And when she thought of the neighbor, she took a deep breath and visualized the light surrounding and transforming him. Months later, things began to change in an almost imperceptible but real way. People who had believed the rumors started greeting her again. New clients appeared. A job opportunity brought stability. It was not a coincidence. It was the result of an invisible shield. The combination of gratitude, charity, and pure intention closed the gap through which evil tried to enter. The Talmud and rabbinic tradition offer concrete practices that create this shield. They are not spells. They are spiritual routines that align your life with divine protection. Here are the most fundamental ones. Simple, practical, and safe steps. Kavana, intention when speaking and acting. Before leaving the house, take a moment to set an intention. Think, I leave protected. My home is a place of peace. A clear intention alters the energy of your daily actions. Tefillah, psalms, prayer, and conscious recitation. Reciting psalms with focus, especially chapters related to protection, is not magic. It is aligning your mind with words that create a favorable spiritual field. Even a few minutes daily make a difference if recited with concentration. Tzedakah, conscious charity. Giving with intention breaks circuits of negativity. In Jewish wisdom, charity is not just helping others. It is the purification of the soul and closing doors to evil. It doesn't need to be a large amount. What matters is the gesture and the intention. Beracha, blessings and active gratitude. Thanking before meals, upon waking, and before sleeping creates a field of recognition that neutralizes envy and attack. Practice this. Every night, name 3 things you are grateful for. Repetition forms a ceiling of light above you. Silence and non-retaliation. Avoid responding with anger. Retaliation creates an energetic channel that strengthens evil. Instead, use silence or words of blessing. This cuts the line of return for the attack. You shall not revenge is not just a moral principle. It is a spiritual strategy. Concrete act of purification at home. Keep the home clean, illuminated, and organized. Kabbalah teaches that aesthetics and order influence the circulation of energy. Light and order close doors to negative influences. These combined practices function as a dynamic shield. It renews itself whenever you act with intention. It fails when you give in to anger. Returning to Esther's story, the transformation did not come from a single act, but from the repetition of these postures. The neighbor, having nothing to nourish, ended up returning to normalcy. The energy began to circulate freely again. There is an ancient teaching from the Sefer Yetzirah that says, the world was created with letters and sustained by words. This means that words are not just sounds, but creative vibrations. Whoever masters their speech masters their reality. That is exactly where the secret begins to return evil without ever reciprocating in the same way. Imagine, someone insults you, defames you, wishes for your failure. The first natural reaction is defense, sometimes even revenge. But the Talmud teaches something opposite and revolutionary. The strength of the righteous lies in remaining silent when they could hurt with words. Why? Because every time you respond with anger, you open a portal for negative energy to spread both within you and to the other. But when you respond with wisdom, you close that portal and return the vibration transformed. It's as if you are telling the universe, I do not accept this poison. I transform it into light. This is not just philosophy. There are words and expressions that, when used consciously, act as a shield. Baruch Hashem, blessed be the name. Say it after something good, but also after something difficult. By saying this, you acknowledge that there is a purpose even when you do not understand. This acceptance cuts at the root of negativity because where there is faith, evil finds no dwelling. Toda Rabbah, thank you very much. Gratitude is the quietest weapon against evil. Even in pain, gratitude transforms the vibrational field. You move from scarcity to abundance. Shalom, peace. More than a greeting, it is an invocation. Saying shalom from the heart asks for peace to enter and take the place of discord. Kabbalists say that shalom is one of the names of the eternal and therefore repels any force contrary to the light. Ein od milvado, there is nothing besides him. One of the most powerful phrases in the Torah. It dissolves fear and reminds us that no force of evil has dominion over those anchored in the divine. When you speak with faith, you extinguish the shadow before it turns into a storm. These words are not magical mantras. They are spiritual anchors that reconnect you to the source of goodness. And it is precisely this reconnection that breaks any chain of negativity cast against you. Now listen to this deeply true story. There was a merchant named Joseph, owner of a small shop in Jerusalem. For years, a neighboring competitor envied him, throwing cruel words and trying to sabotage his sales. But Joseph never responded. Every time he was provoked, he simply said, "Shalom, may peace be with you." One day, this same competitor had a serious financial problem. Who helped him? Joseph. And when asked why, he replied, "Because he who plants badly needs to taste the flavor of good. Only then will he understand that good is stronger." After that, Joseph's shop prospered like never before. Not because he wished for revenge, but because he did not feed evil. He uprooted it. This is the secret of the wise: to return evil without doing evil. Not to react with anger but with light. Not to curse but to bless. Not to wish for the other to fall but for him to awaken. The ancient rabbis said, "Evil has no power over those who are awake in the light, but it approaches those who are spiritually asleep." And according to Jewish wisdom, especially Kabbalah, there are times and situations during the day when our soul becomes more exposed to negative influences, whether spiritual or emotional. These moments are not related to superstition, but to natural laws. Just as the body needs to sleep and wake, the spirit also has cycles of expansion and contraction. It is during these moments of contraction that negativity tries to infiltrate, mainly through feelings and words. The Kabbalists explain that there are 3 periods of the day when vigilance should be doubled. At dawn, when the body awakens but the soul is not yet fully aligned. At this time, thoughts of worry and anxiety try to occupy the mind before the light of faith takes hold. Therefore, the wise recommend that the first words of the day be of gratitude. Modeh Ani, I thank you, Eternal, for returning my soul. By saying this, you choose to vibrate in the light even before opening your eyes completely. In the late afternoon, when the day's energy begins to decline, many Kabbalists say that at this time judgment intensifies. It is when a person starts to remember offenses, debts, injustices, and if they do not watch their heart, they end up connecting to dense energy. Therefore, it is the ideal moment to release forgiveness, take a deep breath and declare, I do not carry the weight of what does not belong to me. And at the spiritual midnight, which is not necessarily midnight on the clock, but the moment when the soul feels lonely and hopeless. It can be during a sleepless night, or a moment of sadness during the day. It is when dark thoughts try to convince you that nothing will change. And this is where the deepest secret comes in. Praying with a broken heart is the most powerful prayer there is. King David wrote, "A broken and contrite heart, O God, you will not despise." It is at this moment that the light approaches, the broken and evil dissolves like fog before the sun. There is a story told among the desert Jews about a man named Eliyahu. He was wronged by a neighbor, accused of something he did not do. Outraged, he isolated himself to seek revenge. But then he heard a gentle voice in his heart saying, "Pray, but do not ask for him to suffer. Ask that he see what you see." Eliyahu did this. Days later, the neighbor came to him asking for forgiveness, confessing that he had lied out of envy. Eliyahu did not respond with anger, only smiled and said, "Now you see. Light defeated evil without fighting, without hatred, without harsh words. And that is the point. Those who stay in peace even in the face of injustice disarm their own evil. There is no magic more powerful than mastery over oneself. That is why the first step to returning evil is to control the moment, not to react when the heart burns, not to speak when the mind boils. True spiritual strength is calmness in the face of chaos. The sages of Kabbalah say that there is no stronger force to repel evil than the act of giving, not giving ostentatiously, nor expecting something in return, but giving silently, in a way only the Creator sees. The Talmud recounts that Abraham was blessed not only because of his faith, but because of his constant generosity. Even when tired, even in the desert, he opened his tent to welcome strangers. What few know is that this attitude was not just kindness, it was spiritual protection. In Jewish tradition, there is the principle of tzedakah, justice through generosity. Every time someone gives something, a coin, a smile, a glass of water, they create around themselves an invisible shield that prevents judgment from approaching. The sages say, evil cannot touch those who are channels of blessings, because evil feeds on stagnation. But when you maintain the flow, evil has nowhere to land. There was a story about a merchant named Yosef ben Levi. A rival cursed him. Nothing prospered. Then a master told him, "Do you want to break the curse? Give something that hurts you." Yosef took his last coins and gave them to a beggar. The next day, a traveler bought all his merchandise. Yosef understood that charity opens doors that no human force can close. Kabbalah explains that when you give, you imitate the Creator, who is pure giving. And imitating the Creator is aligning with the light. The prophet Isaiah already said, "Tzedakah will save from evil." And this salvation is not just physical. It is emotional, spiritual, energetic. Many who carry invisible burdens find liberation by giving with an open heart. If you feel that something is blocking your prosperity, do good in secret. Don't tell anyone. Just give. It is a silent prayer that heaven listens to. The sages of the Talmud stated, "Everything a man sows inevitably returns." But here it is not morality. It is spiritual law. Every thought, word, and action creates an energetic wave that returns to the point of origin. That is, you. If someone harms you and you retaliate with anger, you feed the cycle. But if you respond with kindness, you break the cycle. Zohar explains that the world is governed by two forces, din, judgment, and rachamim, mercy. When you pay evil with evil, you feed din. But when you choose not to retaliate, you attract rachamim. It's as if the universe says, "If you trust in goodness, I will also trust in you." And this is the law of spiritual return, the secret that explains why the righteous, even when attacked, are never destroyed. They transform each offense into a blessing, each stone into a step, each curse into fuel for growth. Rebbe Nachman of Breslov said, "There is no evil that cannot be transformed into light if man knows how to respond with faith." Perhaps this is what the world still needs to learn. Overcoming evil is not destroying it, but transforming it. Imagine a lit candle in a dark room. If someone blows and extinguishes it, darkness takes over. But if you relight it, the darkness disappears because darkness cannot resist light. Similarly, when you choose to respond to evil with good, it is like reigniting the light within yourself. And when the light shines again, the opposing energy has nowhere to settle. The Torah gives us a magnificent example with the story of Joseph, the son of Jacob. His brothers sold him as a slave, wished him harm, and humiliated him deeply. But years later, when he became the second most powerful man in Egypt, and his brothers came to ask for help, he did not take revenge. Instead, he wept and said, "You planned evil against me, but God turned everything into good." This is the heart of the law of spiritual return. You can transform the evil done to you into a bridge to your purpose, as long as you have the courage not to retaliate, but to redirect. The sages of Kabbalah taught a simple yet powerful practice that does not rely on complex rituals or sacred objects. It is based on awareness of the moment and pure intention of the heart. According to them, every time we feel anger, envy, or fear, whether caused by something someone did to us or by difficult circumstances, we open a door for negative energies to approach. The secret is to immediately interrupt the flow of the emotional reaction, replacing it with conscious action aimed at good. The practice consists of 3 steps. First, silent acknowledgement. When you feel any heavy emotion, such as anger or resentment, recognize it without judgment. I feel anger, but I am not that anger. It does not define me. This simple acknowledgement is the first shield. You do not suppress the emotion, but you also do not let it dictate your actions. Second, breathing and connection. Breathe deeply, visualizing that each inhale brings light and protection. When exhaling, imagine that you are releasing toxic energy that does not belong to you. Wise people say that conscious breathing is like a river that carries away impurities, preparing the ground for light to enter. Third, redirecting energy. This is the most important step. Choose to transform negative energy into something constructive. It can be a thought of forgiveness, an act of kindness, or a silent prayer asking that the other also finds peace. There was a woman named Rivka who faced cruel comments from a coworker. Previously, she reacted with anger and resentment, ending the day exhausted. A teacher taught her this practice. When she heard a criticism, Rivka acknowledged her emotion, took a deep breath, and mentally said, "May the light surround this moment." Then, she secretly wished that her coworker find serenity. In a few weeks, the environment changed, and Rivka transformed her own energy. Evil lost strength around her because she simply stopped feeding it. The lesson is clear. Evil can only remain where it is fed. When you choose not to feed it, it naturally dissipates. The sages of Kabbalah taught that true spiritual strength does not manifest in easy moments, but in times of pressure, injustice, and pain. When life seems to conspire against you, when evil arises intensely, the natural reaction is fear, anger, or hopelessness. But it is precisely in these moments that consciousness needs to act. Jewish wisdom teaches that there are 3 layers of spiritual protection. The first is internal protection, self-control. Even if everyone around you is acting with malice, if you remain calm and do not respond with hatred, an invisible barrier is created. Masters say that deliberate silence in the face of evil is more powerful than any retaliation. The second is energetic protection, conscious acts of kindness. Every gesture of generosity, every word of support, every silent prayer creates a network of light around you. Every good act is like a cornerstone that builds an invisible shield. The third is divine protection, the deepest one. When your actions are aligned with the intention to do good, you activate the flow of abundance and protection from the universe. According to the rabbis, the soul that acts with pure intention connects directly to divine light, becoming untouchable by evil. There is a story in ancient manuscripts about Hanan, an unfairly accused merchant of fraud. His competitors spread lies and the entire town seemed to turn against him. At first, Hanan felt great anger, but he remembered the teachings. Do not repay evil with evil. Be a light even in darkness. He then practiced, recognized the emotion, breathed, made silence, and instead of retaliating, secretly helped a needy neighbor. Days later, the truth about his innocence came to light, and his enemies were surprised by his integrity. Hanan prospered even more. He understood that the light he kept inside himself had transformed the entire situation. This is the central point. No matter how intense the attack or how unjust the situation, the correct response is not retaliation, but preserving your inner light. According to the sages of the Talmud and Kabbalah, there are simple daily practices that strengthen spiritual protection and transform negative energies into opportunities for growth. The secret lies in the awareness with which we perform each action. The ritual consists of 3 essential steps. First, the morning silence moment. Upon waking, take a few minutes to breathe deeply and visualize a golden light enveloping your body. Mentally affirm that all negative energy around me transforms into learning and peace. Second, acts of intentional kindness. Choose a gesture of generosity every day. It could be sending a supportive message, helping someone in need, or smiling at someone going through difficulties. The wise teach that each act of kindness creates a protective network that repels bad intentions. Third, words of gratitude and affirmation. Before starting your activities, mentally pronounce words of gratitude, acknowledging all the blessings in your life. I am grateful for the light that guides me and for the strength that transforms challenges into opportunities. This practice strengthens the connection with the flow of abundance and divine protection. There are reports of people who applied these steps daily. A young woman named Leah faced problems at work, envious colleagues, and constant misunderstandings. She began to apply the ritual. In a few weeks, she noticed changes, respect, opportunities, and a flow of peace around her. She realized that protection did not come from fighting evil, but from radiating light, allowing the universe to act in her favor. The masters teach that consistency multiplies the effects. It is not an occasional ritual. It is a daily practice that transforms negative energy into growth. And we arrive at the most powerful part, the final prayer. A prayer of transformation, light, and protection. It summarizes everything. Recognizing evil without reacting with hatred, transforming negative energy into light, practicing generosity, maintaining inner peace, and gratitude. The prayer is made in silence. May all negative energy directed at me transform into learning and light. May I be protected by wisdom and kindness. May my life be a channel of abundance, peace, and prosperity. May those who have wronged me find their own light. May all injustice turn into growth. May mercy, wisdom, and divine light guide my paths. Repeat this prayer 2 or 3 times a day, or whenever you feel negativity approaching. Repetition with intention creates an energetic pattern that strengthens the spiritual shield. There is one last story. A man named David lived surrounded by intrigue and envy in his community. By applying all the practice, silence, breathing, kindness, gratitude, and prayer, he realized that people who wished him harm began to treat him with respect. Unexpected solutions arose. His financial and emotional life came into flow. The secret is not to fight evil directly, but to transform it through light and kindness, with awareness, consistency, and faith. Now go to the pinned comment and watch the indicated video. It reveals ancient secrets kept for millennia about prosperity and protection. What you learn there can change your life forever. This is the end of our journey, but it is the beginning of your daily practice. Follow the steps, repeat the prayer, and open yourself to the light.